Do you think winning a big lottery jackpot makes all your troubles vanish? Well, you're wrong. Just as wrong as the 70% of other lottery winners who thought the same but ended up with empty pockets. In other words, there's a 1/3 chance you'll go broke after winning the lottery. But don't worry, Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank has some shocking advice that could be just what you need to keep a lasting fortune. So if you're dreaming of those millions, you won't want to miss what Kevin has to say. Number 8. Lump sum or an annuity. In October, the Powerball jackpot climbed to a massive $1.76 billion. Hitting that big jackpot catapults you into an elite club of instant millionaires. But it can drag you down just as quickly. The trick here is deciding how to receive your winnings. You've got two options, a lump sum or an annuity. Let's do the math and see what each option really means. When you choose the lump sum, you take a smaller portion of the total jackpot right away. For example, in the case of the $1.76 billion jackpot, the lump sum option would have given you around $774.1 million. The catch here is that you lose 24% of your winnings to federal taxes. As a result, your take-home is significantly less. However, these numbers were right just for the October Powerball that pulled the second largest jackpot in history. The actual amount you get in hand depends on the total jackpot size and current tax laws. So, yes, the lump sum option has its pros and cons, and then we have the annuity option. This one spreads out your winnings over 30 years. You receive a portion of the jackpot annually, which gradually increases over time. This option makes sure you receive a steady income stream for decades, but it doesn't give you the immediate access to the full amount. So what should a lucky winner do? Opt for less but quick money or more but slow money? This is where we asked Kevin O'Leary for help. He's the financial guru from Shark Tank, and he has clear advice for all the lottery winners out there. His words were, take the lump sum, but don't spend it. Do you see why he suggested the first option even though it pays you less? Well, if you think about it, you get more money right now. You can invest it wisely. It has the potential to grow significantly over time, potentially outpacing the total you would receive from the annuity. We have a real-life example to prove it to you. Brad Duke won a $220 million lottery in 2005. However, he didn't go on a spending spree. Instead, he invested his winnings and focused on wealth growth. By making smart financial decisions, Duke not only maintained his fortune, but also grew it. Today, he's not just a millionaire, he's a billionaire. And that's what you can be, only if you make the right choices. But what are the right choices? Well, Kevin also shared something about that. Number 7. Pay attention to your budget. Once you've won a hefty lottery jackpot, it's natural to think that the sky's the limit with your newfound wealth. But let us tell you what Kevin O'Leary says about this. His next advice to lottery winners is to keep a close eye on your spending and make a budget. According to O'Leary, the biggest pitfall for lottery winners is the sudden shift in their spending habits. It's not an unusual thing. We've seen many lottery winners flushed with cash who started splurging without a second thought. This reckless spending led to a shocking outcome: bankruptcy. The internet is full of stories of these lottery winners who hit rock bottom financially within 3 to 5 years, no matter how big of a jackpot they won. You see, it's surprisingly easy to burn through hundreds of millions if you're not careful. Even with a bank account that seems bottomless, unchecked spending can deplete it rapidly. So what's Kevin's advice on this? Expect some changes in your lifestyle, sure, but don't let go of financial prudence. Transition into your new life gradually, and most importantly, continue to keep track of your budget. But it doesn't mean you have to deprive yourself. You'll be unable to do that with so much cash on hand. All you have to do is make a budget first, so that you first make sure you don't splurge. And it's not just Kevin who thinks so. There's one other entrepreneurial star who shared a similar piece of advice. Number 6. Open a savings account. First, let's hear it from Barbara Corcoran. She's a self-made millionaire and a star on Shark Tank who definitely knows a thing or two about smart money moves because she has a net worth of $100 million. Her advice for lottery winners is pretty straightforward but super effective. She says that you should start with opening a high-yield savings account. Now, you might think, a savings account? Really? Who wouldn't have thought of that? But focus on Barbara's words. A high-yield savings account isn't your typical account. It offers much higher interest rates, meaning the money you stash there grows faster than it would in a regular account. You have to find a reputable bank that offers high interest rates. That's how you'll get some extra mileage out of your winnings. But why stop there? Barbara suggests that lottery winners shouldn't just park their money. She thinks they should be actively looking for ways to grow it. She gave advice for it too: passive income. This involves real estate that generates rental income or dividend-paying stocks. These investments can keep adding to your wealth without you having to lift a finger. The beauty of this approach is its focus on long-term financial security. You'll build a solid financial foundation that will last. By diversifying your investments between safe options like high-yield savings and other income-generating assets, you'll set yourself up for continuous growth. When it comes to splitting your lottery winnings between savings and investments, there's no one-size-fits-all answer. But you need to have a smart approach. A good rule of thumb is to put around 20% to 30% of your winnings into a high-yield savings account. The percentage you direct towards investments depends on you, but make sure at least 15% of your winnings are going towards investments like stocks, bonds, real estate, or other income-generating ventures. Now, before we share other golden tips from Kevin O'Leary, let's hear something first from this other Kevin. Number 5. Remain anonymous. Kevin Harrington is another big name from Shark Tank who has a net worth of $400 million. He shared some valuable advice for lottery winners that they should remain anonymous if they can. Why stay anonymous? Well, when you win big, suddenly everyone knows your name. Old friends, distant relatives, charities, and yes, even scammers might come knocking. Keeping your identity hidden and anonymous will help you avoid this unwanted attention and the potential stress or danger it brings. But how do you stay anonymous after winning the lottery? Well, it depends on where you live. Not all states allow lottery winners to keep their names secret. In the US, states like Maryland, Ohio, Kansas, Delaware, North Dakota, and South Carolina, among others, let winners stay anonymous. Other states might require you to go public, but there are workarounds. Some winners set up a trust or an LLC to claim the prize, keeping their names out of the spotlight. Now, you have to stay anonymous not just to avoid a flood of friend requests or dodgy investment pitches. It'll also help you keep secure and give you peace of mind. Imagine trying to live a normal life when everyone knows you're sitting on a pile of cash. It's not just uncomfortable, it can be downright risky. Harrington's advice also speaks to the mental and emotional aspects of winning big. Anonymity can give you the space and tranquility to adjust to your new life and make smart, unhurried decisions about your future. You'll have the space to take control of your story and how it moves forward. If you're in a state where anonymity isn't an option, consider other strategies to protect your privacy. This might mean changing phone numbers, carefully managing social media, or even moving to a new location. The key is to create a buffer between your public win and your private life. Remember, the goal here is to enjoy your winnings and live a fulfilling life, free from the pressures and risks that can come with sudden fame. By staying anonymous, or at least as private as possible, you'll be taking a critical step to safeguard your fortune and your overall well-being. And while you're doing that, you need one big tool by your side. Now, what's that? Well, Kevin shared some tidbits about it too. Number 4. Build a trustworthy team. When you hit the lottery jackpot, Kevin Harrington suggests hiring a trustworthy team ASAP. First up, an attorney. Winning big means dealing with legal complexities you probably never thought about. An attorney will help you protect your assets, advice on legal matters related to your winnings, and ensure you're covered on all fronts. They'll also set up trusts or companies if you want to remain anonymous. Then you'll need a tax advisor. Let's face it, Taxes on lottery winnings can be a labyrinth, and the last thing you want is the IRS knocking on your door for a missed payment. A tax advisor will help make sure you're not paying more than you need to. They'll be your go-to person for making sense of those complex tax laws. And don't forget a financial advisor. They're like your personal financial planners. They can help you invest wisely, plan for the future, and multiply your newfound wealth. A good financial advisor will tailor their advice to your goals, whether it's a secure and comfortable retirement, setting up college funds, or buying your dream home. So why can't you skip all this and just wing it? Well, think about it. Without an attorney, you could end up in legal hot water. Without a tax advisor, you might find yourself owing a scary amount of back taxes. And without a financial advisor, your chances of making smart investment decisions drop significantly. Imagine trying to make big decisions like setting up college funds or investing in real estate without expert advice. It's pretty risky. And what about all those requests for money you'll likely get from friends and family? A solid team can help you handle those too. Not having these pros on your side could mean making some major missteps. So when you win big, remember to get the right people to help you handle it. While this advice is great for the long haul, Kevin O'Leary shared something else that would need your immediate attention. Number 3. Pay off debt. The next piece of advice by Kevin is to pay off debt, because there's never an incentive to stay in debt. Now, that might sound like a no-brainer, but you'd be surprised how many jackpot winners miss this step in the thrill of their new millionaire status. So why should paying off debt be numero uno on your to-do list? Well, first of all, this gets all the creditors off your back, which helps you save your heaps of money because, now think about it, every dollar you owe adds up interest. So by wiping out your debt, you'll stop the bleeding and save your money. The next reason why this step is important is because you have to make your money work for you, and you can only do that when you have no money owed to anybody, and all your money is centered around profiting you. It's like unclogging a pipe. Once the blockage, which is the debt, is gone, the water, that's your cash, flows freely. You're suddenly in a position to invest, save, and yes, even spend more efficiently. Now, let's tackle a common myth. Some people believe that they've got millions, so a little debt doesn't matter. Well, wrong. Debt nibbles away at your winnings so slowly that you won't even notice. But what if you run out of luck? Only then will you see a big pile of cash you have to pay to clear your debts. So why not do it as early on as you can? Why wait for bad luck to strike? And did you know that interest rates on debts are often higher than what you earn on savings or investments? So technically, by paying off a debt with a 10% interest rate, you'll be making a better investment than most stock market ventures. This would be like your reverse investing. You'll be guaranteeing yourself a return by eliminating future expenses. And let's not forget about the freedom factor. Debt-free living means choices, opportunities, and dare we say, a little swagger in your financial step. You'll be able to take control of your fortune and steer it in the direction you want, not where your debts dictate. So when the lottery win lands in your lap, channel your inner Kevin O'Leary. Look those debts in the eye, say goodbye, and pay them off. And then watch as your financial landscape transforms. Now, about that last step. You've taken a lump sum, you've set a budget, you've paid your debt. How do you make your money work for you now? Well, Kevin O'Leary has some advice for you here as well. Number 2. Invest in stocks. The next piece of advice by Kevin O'Leary is about how to turn that lottery win into even bigger bucks, or how to go from a millionaire to a billionaire. His advice is to put your money in low volatility, dividend-paying stocks. It sounds a bit jargony, but it's actually pretty simple. Low volatility stocks are low-risk investments in the stock market. They don't have wild price swings, so you won't see your investment skyrocket one day and plummet the next. And then there are dividends. Some stocks pay you just for owning them. These are dividend-paying stocks. Every so often, they'll give you a bit of their earnings. It's like getting a regular paycheck just for holding on to these stocks. And who doesn't like that kind of extra cash coming in regularly, right? Where should you put your money then? Big, well-known companies are usually a good bet. For example, some heavy hitters like Johnson & Johnson, Procter & Gamble, Coca-Cola, the kinds that have been around for ages and aren't going anywhere anytime soon. They're known for being consistent and giving out those dividends we talked about. But then again, you have to remember the old advice too. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. You have to mix it up. Along with those reliable stocks, you should sprinkle in some bonds, real estate investments, and maybe even take a chance on some more exciting up-and-coming companies. All you need to do is to find a balance between risky and non-risky. You don't want too many risky investments that might drown you, and you don't want just the non-risky investments that won't get you far. Find the right balance. Now, it's not just Kevin who shared his golden tips. Other entrepreneurial stars had some killer advice too for lottery winners, and we've gathered it all up for you. Now, the next advice might not be money related, but it's just as important for lottery winners. Number 1. Say no to your friends and family. Remember Kevin Harrington's advice to stay anonymous after a lottery win? In case you can't follow that advice, you can always follow the wise words of Mark Cuban. He advises the lottery winners to learn to say no to their friends and family. It sounds tough, but it's important for maintaining your financial sanity. You see, when word gets out that you've won the lottery, you'll likely be swamped with requests for money. Everyone from your second cousin to your old high school buddy might come with a handout. Saying yes to everyone can quickly drain your winnings. Only saying no will protect your bank account. You have a unique opportunity to change your life, and indiscriminate spending or lending can jeopardize that. So you have to set boundaries and stick to them. Now, let's talk about investments. Once you've won big, you might be tempted to throw money at every investment opportunity that comes your way. But here's where saying no becomes important again. Not every investment is a good one, and some can be downright risky. So you have to assess each opportunity critically. Before saying yes to any investment, consult your financial advisor. They can help you differentiate between a sound investment and a potential money pit. Your advisor will consider factors like the risk involved, the potential return, and how each investment fits into your overall financial plan. And this is not just about investments. Follow this approach for your other business ventures and even seemingly small purchases. It's easy to let spending spiral out of control when you have a large sum, so you have to be cautious and thoughtful about every yes. And that's not all from Mark Cuban. He shared some exclusive tips for lottery winners, revealing the very first things you should do after winning. So if you want to know more, check out our next video.
Hey Millionaire, we all dream of one day winning the lottery. And of course, if that happens, we want to win big. Just imagine how great a multi-million-dollar jackpot would be. It's the literal definition of life-changing. But the thing people forget when they're daydreaming about their big win is that most of us don't really know how to manage such huge amounts of cash. Thankfully, we have experts to help us out. Billionaires are pretty happy to offer their advice to new lottery winners. And it might be a good idea to listen. They sure know a thing or two about what to do with all that money. But Mark Cuban's advice might just surprise you. Let's take a closer look. There's loads of advice out there on what you should do if you win the lottery jackpot, but not all advice can be taken seriously. You don't even know who the people are who are giving you that advice most of the time. But this advice comes straight from Mark Cuban. In case you don't know who he is, he's an American entrepreneur who invented the video portal Broadcast.com. Although you might recognize him better for the show Shark Tank. He's currently worth an estimated $4.6 billion. In other words, he sure knows what he's talking about when it comes to money. But that makes his advice to lottery winners even more interesting. Because, in some ways, it's totally different from what everyone else thinks. There's one bit of common advice he agrees with. Hire a good tax attorney straight away. Most other experts add a good financial manager on top of that. But you get the idea. He's basically saying experts really can help, and they're pretty important. There's no doubt he's right. After all, what do we know about taxes at that level of sudden income? An expert could definitely make sure we get a lot more money out of our big win than we could on our own. His next bit of advice is to not take the lump sum. You've no doubt heard those words of wisdom before. Experts often say that for a very simple reason that Cuban seems to agree with. You don't want to blow all that cash in the blink of an eye. You'd be surprised how easy it is to spend millions without realizing it. You'd think because you're so used to living on a lot less money, it would be impossible to spend so much. But all you need to do is look at other lottery winners to see that it can, and definitely does, happen way easier than you think. But you can't blow it if you don't take the lump sum. Choose annuity payments instead. Then you know you have a steady stream of cash that's going to be coming into your bank account for years. It's enough to keep you happy, but it stops you from making insane purchases. And while we're on the subject of happiness, there's another thing that Cuban thought it would be important to mention. He says if you weren't happy before winning the lottery, you can't expect to be happy after winning. The old saying is money doesn't buy happiness, and Cuban seems to agree. But he also says if you were happy before you won, you'll probably be even happier after winning. He says that because life gets a lot easier when you don't have to pay the bills. We all kind of knew that already, I think. But he makes a good point. If you can be happy even though you're not earning that much money, then having the money to live your life exactly the way you want is going to make you even happier. I'd bet people who are happy before are also less likely to blow all their cash because they'll only spend it on the important stuff, like being closer to family. What's the first thing you'd do with a big lottery win? Tell us in the comments and keep watching. We haven't even gotten to Mark Cuban's best advice yet, and family is one of the things Cuban mentioned in his advice. But, he says, you need to learn to say no to them. And that includes your friends too. He said loads of people are going to be asking you for money, and it's important to say no. According to Cuban, if you're that close, then you'll know who really needs the money and exactly how much you should give them. He says you can help some people out, but always talk to your accountant first. And don't listen to anyone who's asking for sums like $100,000 or $1 million. According to Cuban, nobody needs that kind of cash for any reason. He says anyone asking for that much money isn't really your friend. I guess he has a point. I'd be surprised if any new lottery winners really listen to him about that though. Still, if you take his other piece of advice and opt for the annuity payment, that will automatically limit how much of your winnings you can give away. I guess the annuity option is even more helpful than anyone thought. His last bit of advice is the most unusual. A lot of people will tell you to get in contact with someone who can invest your money wisely. Not Cuban. He says, don't invest. Sounds crazy? He had a good reason for saying that. He rightly says you don't suddenly become a smart investor just because you won the lottery. That makes sense, right? I mean, if you can't invest your money now, why would you think you can invest it well just because you won millions? And if you think you can do it with the help of expert investors, don't be too sure. There are cases of lottery winners losing everything because they gave it to someone to invest it for them. Some of those winners trusted investors who were actually thieves, and others just chose investors who made some seriously bad investments. But that's kind of the point. How do you know the investment is going to pay off? Well, you don't. And that's what Mark Cuban is trying to get at. He says if you really win big, you should put the cash in the bank and leave it there. If you don't spend like crazy, you'll have enough to live off comfortably for the rest of your life with one of those really big jackpots we've been seeing lately. Plus, he says, you'll sleep a lot more soundly knowing the money is safe and you're not about to lose it all on a bad investment. That sure makes sense to me. Can you hit subscribe before another lottery winner blows their fortune? You have 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Keep watching to make sure you don't make the same mistakes as they did. Mark Cuban also says you need to remember to be nice because nobody likes a mean billionaire. You can say that again. So that's what one billionaire thinks. But do financial experts agree? Let's take a look. The first thing experts say is to not make any big decisions straight away. You need to take your time to decide what to do with that huge win. You want to choose things that will actually make you happier, instead of just buying the huge mansion and fancy car because you think that's what you should do when you have money. Lottery winners have fallen into that trap before. They all pretty much agree that you need to take your time and not make any big life decisions until the adrenaline of the win has worn off. They also suggest hiring that financial expert and going for the annuity option. Experts also say that annuity helps to stabilize your relationships. Basically, your friends aren't going to get so jealous of your big win if you're only getting a smaller amount of money into your bank account. Having a friend who's lucky enough to have $1 million in the bank is quite different from suddenly having a friend with a couple $100 million in the bank. You also won't suffer from serious winner's guilt. So far, all of this sounds a lot like the advice Cuban gave too. They also say, be careful how much money you give away. Now that sure seems to agree with Cuban. Experts say a lot of lottery winners lose all their winnings by being too generous. But that's not just because they give it all away. They also don't know about the thing called a gift tax. In the US, the gift tax is a pretty shocking percentage of the cash you give away too. Each person in the US is allowed to give away $5.34 million as a gift, tax-free. After that, you're in trouble if you give any more away. Giving more cash than that away carries a tax of a whopping 40%. That means half of everything you give away goes to the government. That's a shocking amount of cash to throw away like that. Cuban would say that's another good reason to keep your money to yourself and learn to say no to people. I've got to say, if taxes are that high on gifts, then I kind of agree with him. At least, even if you win $1 billion, make sure you only give away $5 million. I'm sure everyone you love will still be very grateful. Who would you give money to if you won the lottery? Tell us why, and of course, how much you give away in the comments. And keep watching for more expert insights into what to do with your big win. According to experts, you shouldn't tell people you won anyway. A big part of that reason is that everyone wants a piece of your win. Saying no can be hard, but it's a lot easier if nobody's asking in the first place. If you only tell a select group of people who you trust 100%, then nobody's going to come looking for your money. Lottery winners speak a lot about how strangers will show up at their door asking for money. It's also well known that people will find things to sue you for once they know you have a lot of cash in the bank. The easiest way to avoid any of that is to keep your win a secret if your state allows you to remain anonymous. If not, then you better get good at saying no very fast. One place where experts don't completely agree with Cuban is his advice on investing. In fact, his fellow Shark Tank member, Kevin O'Leary, says exactly the opposite. O'Leary suggests you should take the lump sum, specifically so you can invest a lot of cash straight away. He says taking the lump sum is totally fine as long as you don't spend it. He suggests you invest and simply pay yourself an annuity sum every year. According to him, this is the best thing you can do because you'll have a lot of cash available to make it work for you. He says your best investment option is dividend-paying stocks with low volatility. That's the kind of thing investment experts say that most of us won't understand. If you understand what he means, good for you. Maybe you should invest after all. But if not, then maybe Mark Cuban is right about saving the money instead. Other experts seem to be sitting on the fence in this case. Normally, they say you should only invest if you're super confident about what you're doing. If not, it's best to take the annuity option instead, or leave it to the experts. But don't forget what I mentioned earlier. Not everyone gets so lucky handing over their millions to people who claim to be investment experts. But all these decisions definitely also depend on how big your lottery jackpot is. If you've won hundreds of millions, maybe investing $1 or $2 million won't make a big difference. If you only won $1 million, then you have a tougher decision to make. But don't forget, you don't have to do anything. Maybe you already know what you want to do with the money. That's great. If you have your dreams all laid out, that makes your decisions much easier when you finally win. If not, then remember to take the time to think about what will really make you happy. Did you like this video? Then make sure to watch this next one.
Imagine you've just won a huge jackpot. That's gotta be the greatest thing that's ever happened, right? But what now? Just because winning the lottery is amazing, that doesn't mean it's not scary. Most of us have never dreamed of having that kind of money. No! And we all know how easy it is for lottery winners to go broke. So what do you do with all that money so you don't blow that incredible chance of being crazy rich? Luckily, the Shark Tank investors have a lot of great advice for lottery winners. We've saved the craziest bits of advice for last, so stick around. But first, here are some solid tips that might just be exactly what you need. Kevin O'Leary. Canadian-born Kevin O'Leary knows a thing or two about being a multimillionaire. But his advice to lottery winners might surprise you. What was the first thing he wanted new winners to know? He said, don't spend a single dollar. Wait, what? What's the point of winning the lottery if you can't spend the money? Well, it turned out He had a pretty good reason for saying this. Working with the idea of a $1.6 billion jackpot, O'Leary says you'll get about $800 million if you take the lump sum option. Then, after taxes, you'll only have about $400 million. But that's a lot of cash. He says you can take some of that and invest in government bonds, which are normally risk-free investments.
There's one thing I've learned in all my years. Sometimes you gotta say, what the fuck?
That, plus a few AAA credits from corporations to back up your investment, and you'll earn about 4% of your money in interest every month. Can you guess how much that is in dollars? The answer surprised me. It turns out you'll earn a whopping $600,000 every month from those investments. And that's after you've already deducted taxes. So, O'Leary suggests you put all your cash into about 3 different bags, and just let your investments earn you money. Don't spend a dime until that first $600,000 payment comes in. After that, you never need to spend any of the money you won. Just let it be. Let it keep working for you in the bank, and you can spend as much of the money you're earning from your investments as you want, knowing you've still got that $400 million safely in the bank. Let's face it, most of us wouldn't even know how to spend $600,000 in 1 month. So that sounds like a pretty good idea. He does say it's very important to diversify your investments though. It's the classic, don't put all your eggs in one basket advice. And he even goes a little further by telling you exactly how much of your money you should be putting into your investments. O'Leary says you should never invest more than 5% of your money into a single investment. You shouldn't invest any more than 20% into a single sector like tech or real estate. And he also says if you invest in 50% bonds and 50% stocks,
Money! I have money! I have lots of money!
You'll never lose all of your money. Now, did he have any other pearls of wisdom for us? You bet. He said when your family members inevitably come over to ask you for money, give it to them. But tell them you're never giving them any more ever again. Sounds pretty harsh, but we won't judge, although most of you probably won't take that advice. Everyone knows that O'Leary has a bit of a feud with fellow shark Barbara Corcoran. So, did she have any advice for lottery winners? She sure did. But how much did it differ from what O'Leary told us? Let's find out. Barbara Corcoran. Barbara Corcoran is in the unique position of knowing what it's like to become a multi-millionaire overnight.
It isn't my money!
That's no money!
That isn't my money!
She didn't win the lottery, but she did sell her successful real estate business in 2001, which meant she went from an ordinary working person to having $66 million in the bank. Well, actually, it was $44 million after taxes, which she paid straight away, so she knew exactly how much money she actually had to work with. But that's still an incredible amount of money to suddenly have at your fingertips. So, can she offer some practical advice based on what she did with her sudden wealth? Well, she did something pretty unusual with her money. She put all of it straight into her ordinary bank account. She said to her, the benefit of doing that was that it allowed her to have some breathing space. In other words, she felt that gave her the time to work out what to do with the money, how to spend it, and more importantly, how to invest it wisely.
I saved a lot of money last year, so this year I'm going to spend more money.
In a way that would actually pay off. She said lottery winners need to do the same thing. You need to take time to let the excitement wear off so you can make really smart decisions. She also said she put the money into that account just so she could see that she had $44 million in her account every time she stopped by an ATM. We can't blame her. It's gotta be a thrill to see that number on your receipt. But you should know that might not be the smartest move for one big reason that Corcoran herself admitted. Remember when Silicon Valley Bank recently went bankrupt? That's a pretty big deal for anyone who has their money stashed in that bank. See, banks don't just let your money sit in an account. And in Corcoran's case, her bank only insured her cash up to about $250,000. So if her bank had experienced something like what happened to Silicon Valley Bank earlier this year, she would have lost all $44 million in her account. Well, except for the small consolation of the $250,000 which was insured. So you might want to think twice about following her unusual approach. But she did give some advice about how to handle family and friends asking for money that you might find useful. When she made her millions, she said she was handing out $10,000 or $20,000 to everyone who asked before she realized how much money she'd actually given away. But she also didn't want to say no to people she cared about. So she turned her accountant into the bad guy. Every time someone asked for money, she'd tell them that if it was all right with her accountant, it was all right with her.
Help me, I'm poor.
Then she would give them her accountant's number and leave it up to him to tell them no. That way, nobody hated her for not giving them her cash. Don't worry though, if you don't want to take that kind of risk, just keep watching. There's loads more advice to come, and someone will definitely say something that sounds good to you. Hey, it might even be the very next person on our list. But who is it? Lori Greiner. Lori Greiner had one simple and solid piece of advice. She's not trying to confuse you with a load of instructions on what you need to do to keep your money safe. She simply says, don't go crazy.
You're absolutely mental.
In a nice way? Yeah.
She suggests you take the time to calm down, reflect, and really think about what you're going to do with that money so you're sure to invest it wisely. She's right. We can only imagine how incredible it must feel to win the lottery. When you're that excited about something, there's no way you're gonna make good decisions. You'll want to throw money around like it's confetti. That's only normal. So, taking a lot of time to get yourself cool, calm, and collected so you know you're making the right decision is probably the best thing you can do as a new winner. That way, you won't spend all your cash on stupid things, and you won't lose it all on bad investments. All this advice can feel pretty overwhelming to a new winner. Luckily, the next shark listed a few tips he thinks are essential for new lottery winners. And they also happen to be the tips that are given most often by experts. Here's his list of the most important pieces of advice. But who is he? Kevin Harrington. In 2017, former shark Kevin Harrington offered to personally mentor the winner of the huge Powerball jackpot that was up for grabs at the time. But we don't need him to mentor us personally because he was kind enough to offer advice to all of us. His advice sums up the advice that's often given to lottery winners. Here's what he had to say. First, stay anonymous. We've all heard that before. He says you'll be so excited, you'll want to tell everyone you know. But it's best to keep it quiet. In fact, Harrington says you should take time to think before you even share the news with your own family. Of course, he also suggested a team to help you. He recommends an attorney, a tax advisor, and a financial advisor. He added that you should trust them, but that's not always so easy if you're not in the financial world already. Let's just say they should have a good reputation. He also suggests hiring them before you even claim your prize because they'll be able to put the money into the correct safe places. While a lot of financial experts suggest taking the annuity payments, Harrington unusually advises new winners to take the lump sum. He says if you put it in the right places, you'll make the same amount through interest as you would have got by taking the annuity payments. You just need to not blow all your cash straight away. He also says investing is a good idea, but you should use your team to help you make the right decisions. Don't be a cowboy and start splashing loads of cash on everything you see. And finally, he says you should give yourself a little treat. So do something you'll enjoy, but don't go crazy. Yep, that's pretty solid advice. It's the kind of advice we hear a lot from experts. So those might be good points to follow. But the advice from the next sharks on our list is a little weirder than Harrington's. So strap in. Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban is in a pretty good position to give advice to winners of giant lottery jackpots because he's got an estimated net worth of $4.6 billion. But with all that money, you might be surprised to hear at least one of the things he thinks you should do with your lottery winnings. It's definitely nothing like the advice most people give. Of course, some of his advice does match what most people advise you to do. He suggests getting a tax attorney straight away, so you can get the most out of your winnings.
I won! money is mine. I have the money is mine.
A lot of people accidentally pay taxes they didn't legally have to, so that's a pretty important bit of advice. He also agrees with most experts that you should take the annuity option. He's obviously seen loads of lottery winners blow all their cash in the blink of an eye. That's definitely not a mistake you want to make, and choosing annuity payments does make it much harder to lose it all. But that's only true if you don't get yourself into debt. He also told winners that they shouldn't expect winning the lottery to make them happy if they weren't happy before.
I won! I hit the double bingo!
It's true that money can't buy happiness. But if you are already happy before you win the lottery, then you'll probably be even happier once you have the freedom that comes with having loads of money. Although, we've seen people who were perfectly happy lose everything after winning the lottery, so Cuban's probably right about that. He also agreed with Kevin O'Leary that you need to be tough on friends and family. You can't keep giving them all your money just because you want it. But his most controversial advice is this: don't invest your money. After everything we've heard from the other sharks, that sounds pretty crazy. But he did explain why he thinks that. He says that just because you have loads of money, that doesn't mean you become a brilliant investor overnight. And you wouldn't want to lose your millions by making bad investments accidentally. And it doesn't always help to give your money to an expert to invest it for you. There are cases of lottery winners losing everything because they gave it to someone to invest it for them. Some of those winners trusted investors who were actually thieves, and others just chose investors who made some seriously bad investments. But that's kind of the point. How do you know the investment is going to pay off? Well, you don't. And that's exactly what Cuban is trying to tell you. So what should you do instead? Cuban covers that too. He says if you win big, like all these giant Powerball and Mega Millions jackpots we're seeing lately, then just put it all in the bank and leave it there. You'll have more than enough money to keep you happy for years, as long as you don't spend it on crazy purchases like giant mansions. He says you'll sleep a lot better knowing that you have the money in the bank instead of worrying that you're about to lose it all on a bad investment. But definitely do pay off your debt first. Think Cuban's advice is controversial? Just wait till you hear what the next shark has to say. Trust me, after everything else we've heard so far, this offbeat bit of advice is gonna blow your mind. Robert Herjavec. Robert Herjavec has the most simple advice out of all the sharks. But it's probably also the most controversial. Why? Well, it's totally the opposite of what most people advise lottery winners to do. So, what did he say? Buy a Ferrari. With everyone else telling you not to spend your money, that sounds kind of insane. So, what does he mean? He says a lot of wealthy people spend their whole lives trying to reach a financial goal, and they never get to enjoy everything they've worked for. So, if you've just won more money than you ever imagined you'd have, he says you should enjoy it. It's the classic life is short advice. And who knows, maybe he's right. Sure, you don't want to be stupid with your new wealth, but if there's something you've always dreamed of doing, maybe you should take the chance you've been given by winning the lottery. We like that advice. But let's bring it back down to something a little more sensible. The last shark on our list has some pretty weird advice too, but he's also got a really helpful tip that might just be the answer to a new lottery winner's biggest question. Damon John. Damon John's advice goes in a totally different direction from any other advice to lottery winners we've ever heard on this channel. The very first thing he tells you to do as a new lottery winner is this. If you're not all over the news already, call everyone they know and ask them if you can borrow some money. Make a mental note of who helped you out and who didn't. He never explained this unusual piece of advice though, but we can guess. Either it's to help you find out who's got your back when things get bad, or it might be so you can have some ammunition for when those same people you called start calling you to ask for cash.
We are gonna borrow a little money from old Uncle Sam and be out of his hair once and for all.
After all, it's much easier to say no to someone if they've just refused to loan you money. In other words, we think it might be pretty useful advice, even if we don't know for sure that's why John said it. He also gives some very useful advice on how to navigate another piece of common advice to lottery winners. You know how everyone always says you need a financial advisor or team on your side? We've already mentioned that Mark Cuban and Kevin Harrington gave that piece of advice to lottery winners. But we've also already said that it's not so easy for normal people like us who haven't had to handle large amounts of money to find this team. Well, John has the answer. He says you should get in touch with someone who does have a lot of money and ask them to recommend a trustworthy and skilled financial advisor. According to John, wealthy people often enjoy mentoring people who have just made their millions, and they should be more than happy to offer some advice and refer you to people they trust. That's a very practical piece of advice that could come in very handy if we ever do win the lottery. And it might just be the most important piece of advice you ever get as a lottery winner, because according to John, a lot of expert investors lose people's money pretty much straight away on bad investments. So you really do want to know that you're hiring someone that will help you, instead of paying someone to lose millions for you. If you wanted to burn money, you could do it without paying an advisor, and it would probably be a lot more fun. He also suggests you get a good attorney who can set up trust to put your millions into. Trust can help you make sure that your money can be passed on to your kids and grandkids. Or if you're not going down that path, they'll help you fund your hobbies or causes you care about. Why is it so important to get good advice as a lottery winner? Because loads, and I mean loads, of lottery winners blow every cent they won. Really, you won't believe how often it happens.
Every so often, life surprises us with a golden ticket, a lottery win that promises to transform our world. The very thought of sudden wealth can set our hearts racing and ignite vivid dreams of luxurious living, financial freedom, and boundless possibilities. Yet, amid the euphoria, one voice of reason shines through, offering invaluable advice: Mark Cuban. He's not just an entrepreneur, he's a maverick, an iconoclast who scripted his own narrative in the annals of success. Cuban is more than just a name, he's an emblem of audacity and innovation. Before the world knew him as the owner of the Dallas Mavericks or as a charismatic shark on Shark Tank, Mark Cuban was the embodiment of the American dream. He's the man who spun a web of success from the threads of grit and determination. His journey wasn't paved with silver spoons, it was etched with sweat and resilience. But what truly makes Mark Cuban captivating isn't just his wealth, it's his wisdom. He's the sage of financial insight, the mentor who shares his journey's lessons with those who dare to listen. His words are a roadmap, a guide to those who aspire to write their own success stories. You might wonder, why is Mark Cuban suitable for advising a potential lottery winner? The answer is twofold. Firstly, he's experienced the euphoria of sudden wealth, which often accompanies a lottery win. Secondly, he's mastered the art of wealth preservation and growth, ensuring that fortune doesn't slip away as quickly as it came. In a world where billionaires often seem distant and aloof, Mark Cuban is the exception. He's the billionaire next door, the one who epitomizes the idea that audacity, innovation, and authenticity are the keys to unlocking the doors of success. Mark Cuban's journey from rags to riches and his subsequent mastery of financial wisdom make him an ideal mentor for those on the cusp of a life-altering lottery win. His advice isn't just a set of guidelines, it's a beacon of hope, a roadmap to navigate the treacherous waters of newfound wealth. The renowned entrepreneur and investor, with his sage counsel, reminds us that before we dive into the enchanting sea of wealth, there's a vital first step that can make all the difference. Imagine you've won the lottery, and the world is at your feet. What does Mark Cuban insist you do first? Buckle up as we embark on a journey to unravel the wisdom of this first step after winning the lottery. In the labyrinth of life, where most of us tread through the daily grind, the dream of winning the lottery gleams like a distant star. It's a dream filled with the promise of newfound possibilities, an escape from financial worries, and the thrilling notion that we might finally get to savor life's sweetest fruits. Imagine for a moment that your numbers align, the stars smile upon you, and that golden ticket to fortune falls into your hands. It's a moment of exhilaration, an exhilarating leap into a world where debts are vanquished, homes are dreamier, and adventures await. But within the exhilaration, there exists a story untold, one that transcends the initial euphoria and forces us to consider what lies beyond the glimmer of a lottery win. The promise of the American dream met in the most extraordinary way. A promise that seems unbreakable yet often comes with unforeseen complications. It's this delicate balance between dream and reality that Mark Cuban's advice seeks to navigate. The profound wisdom he imparts about the first step you should take when the universe places a bounty at your feet. For in the world of lottery wins, the dream realized can quickly turn into a double-edged sword, and the wise first step can make all the difference. So let's dive deeper into this journey where we explore not just the thrill of the lottery win, but the consequences it carries and the pivotal counsel of Mark Cuban that sets the tone for the next chapter of life. So what is Mark Cuban's wisdom? Well, it is hiring a financial advisor. Mark Cuban, the entrepreneurial maverick and investor extraordinaire, has etched his name in the annals of finance with his sagacious insights and remarkable success. When it comes to the colossal life change that winning the lottery represents, he doesn't mince words. He emphasizes a paramount first step: hiring a financial advisor. The reasons behind this recommendation are manifold, and Mark Cuban's own experiences in the world of finance lend it weight. Cuban underscores the importance of expert guidance by stating, "When you win the lottery, hire a financial advisor. They're your first line of defense to make sure your newfound wealth is managed properly." This expert guidance is not to be underestimated. A financial advisor, as Cuban suggests, is a trained professional with a deep understanding of the intricacies of wealth management. A financial advisor's role extends beyond the mere handling of money. They are a crucial source of financial wisdom, offering a roadmap to navigate the often complex world of investments and financial planning. As Cuban elaborates, they help you understand what your options are. They can walk you through the best strategies to protect your wealth and make it last. The lottery win is just the beginning of an entirely new journey. It's a journey where security, stability, and the ability to provide for the future are paramount. Cuban's financial counsel underlines the significance of avoiding the pitfalls that many lottery winners unknowingly tumble into. A lot of lottery winners end up broke because they don't know how to handle the money. They spend it all without thinking about taxes or investments, he remarks, highlighting the disastrous consequences of reckless financial decisions. A financial advisor with their expertise can safeguard your wealth and ensure it is efficiently invested, securing your long-term financial well-being. This wisdom is particularly crucial given the emotional roller coaster that often accompanies a lottery win. As Cuban empathizes, the lottery is life-changing and emotional. A financial advisor can help keep emotions in check and ensure that rational decisions are made. While hiring a financial advisor is the crucial first step, the billionaire entrepreneur offers a constellation of guidance for navigating the uncharted waters of a lottery win. The allure of the lump sum, a prudent pause for prosperity. Imagine you've just plucked the golden apple from the tree of fortune. It's there, glistening with potential, the power to change your life in an instant. This, in essence, is the allure of the lump sum, a tantalizing, once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to grasp your newfound wealth in one fell swoop. However, Mark Cuban, the visionary entrepreneur, urges you to pause, to catch your breath amid the whirlwind of dreams and possibilities. His advice, much like the calm before the crescendo of a symphony, emphasizes prudence over impulse. The lump sum is a beguiling siren, whispering grand tales of extravagant purchases and instant gratification. Yet, Cuban's wisdom shines through as a lighthouse in this tumultuous sea of fortune. It's not about turning your back on the treasure. It's about recognizing the nuances of managing wealth and the art of painting your financial canvas in strokes, not broad swaths. The prudence of not succumbing to the immediate gratification of a lump sum win lies in safeguarding your newfound treasure. It's an understanding that wealth is not just about the climax, but the entire narrative. The chapters that unfold in your life post-win deserve to be written with intention, detail, and care. While the lump sum might offer the temptation of instant wealth, it also conceals the pitfall of impulsive spending. It's akin to having a bucket full of colorful marbles. The allure of dropping them all at once is undeniable. Yet by doing so, you risk losing the intricacy, the beauty, and the story they create when they're carefully placed, one by one, in the mosaic of your life. Cuban's wisdom is not just a pause, it's a deliberate act of claiming your wealth's full potential. It's like a chef tasting each ingredient before it goes into the pot, ensuring that every flavor harmonizes, creating a masterpiece. The lump sum is the jackpot's treasure chest, but the real artistry lies in knowing how to unlock its riches methodically. Ultimately, it's about understanding that wealth, like fine wine, gets better with time. The allure of the lump sum is undeniable, but the prudence of patience is where true prosperity lies. In the symphony of newfound wealth, Cuban's advice serves as a tranquil movement, a pause for reflection and intention, ensuring that your financial journey becomes not just a crescendo, but a symphony of enduring success. Money is not synonymous with happiness, a philosophical reflection. Mark Cuban's third piece of advice is a profound philosophical reflection. Amidst the whirlwind of newfound wealth, he offers a gentle but crucial reminder. Money is not synonymous with happiness. It's a sentiment that transcends the clinking of coins and the rustle of bills, delving deep into the essence of what it means to lead a fulfilling life. In a world where the notion of the good life often appears inextricably linked to financial success, Cuban challenges this belief. He shines a spotlight on a fundamental truth. If you weren't happy yesterday, a sudden windfall won't magically transform your emotional landscape. This advice is akin to a whisper from a sage, offering an insight that reaches far beyond monetary considerations. It prompts a reflective pause, encouraging you to reassess what truly brings contentment. The takeaway is clear. Happiness is an intricate tapestry woven from the threads of experiences, relationships, personal growth, and a sense of purpose. Money can embellish this tapestry, but it is not the loom itself. Cuban's wisdom prompts you to scrutinize your passions, your dreams, and your connections with others. It invites you to explore the profound joys that life can offer, irrespective of your financial situation. In essence, it reiterates that the currency of happiness isn't found in banknotes, but in cherished moments, heartfelt laughter, and the bonds with those you hold dear. This is not a message of frugality or asceticism. It's a celebration of the deeper, non-material aspects of existence. In the voyage of life, Cuban's counsel becomes a compass that directs you toward the ports of emotional wealth and fulfillment. It beckons you to find happiness in the everyday, to cherish the simple pleasures, and to embrace the wealth of experiences that life unfolds. In an era where materialism often takes center stage, Cuban's philosophical advice serves as a poignant reminder that happiness, in its purest form, is a treasure more valuable than any jackpot. It's a unique and rare perspective that weaves a rich narrative within the tapestry of wealth, where each thread of joy and contentment adds to the portrait of a life well lived. Money eases worries, the promise of financial liberation. In the symphony of life, money isn't the crescendo, it's the conductor's baton that orchestrates harmony. Mark Cuban's piece of advice carries the subtle promise of liberation, a profound insight into how newfound wealth can transform your life. Imagine this. You wake up, and the ever-present gnaw of financial concerns has vanished. Your heart beats a little lighter, your mind a bit clearer. The looming specter of unpaid bills, the fretful nights over mortgage payments, and the relentless drumbeat of everyday expenses are silenced. It's a sweet serenade of relief. Cuban reminds you that if yesterday was a canvas of contentment, tomorrow can be a masterpiece of joy. Money is not the end goal. It's the means to bask in life's vibrant tapestry without the nagging doubts that often shadow our days. It's the assurance that you can pursue passions, explore the world, and immerse yourself in experiences that once felt distant. In the realm of newfound wealth, the promise of this commandment is profound. The treasure chest you've uncovered becomes the key to doors previously locked. Imagine the joy of pursuing your hobbies without the worry of expenses. Picture the tranquility of planning for your children's future education without sleepless nights. Feel the liberation of giving back to your community knowing your wealth can become a force for positive change. This advice transcends mere financial wisdom. It's a beacon of hope, a testament to the transformative power of financial security. Money becomes the silent guardian that wards off the shadows of stress and worry, allowing you to embrace life's most profound joys. In the grand symphony of newfound wealth, this commandment underscores that wealth isn't about hoarding riches. It's about crafting a life free from financial anxieties and resplendent with the melodies of happiness and contentment. The gentle art of saying no. A lesson in boundaries. The allure of newfound wealth can be both a blessing and a perilous invitation to those from your past, and even those you scarcely know. Mark Cuban's fifth directive shines a light on a particularly challenging aspect of the lottery win journey, the delicate art of saying no. Picture this: your phone buzzes with messages from long-lost acquaintances, distant cousins, and old-school friends, all seeking a piece of the financial pie you've acquired. They come bearing stories of hardship, dreams, and can't-miss business ideas. It's as if your newfound wealth has suddenly transformed you into a philanthropic oracle with limitless resources. Cuban's counsel is not just practical, it's a powerful lesson in self-preservation and astute resource management. He encourages you to draw a line in the sand, to set boundaries that separate genuine need from opportunistic desire. The paradox is that by saying no, you're not becoming a miserly guardian of wealth. You're becoming a wise steward of your prosperity. Why the firm no? Because as Cuban aptly notes, no one needs $1 million for anything. No one needs $100K for anything. Anyone who asks is not your friend. This wisdom offers a powerful filter, allowing you to sift through the requests and identify those who truly need your help and those who simply covet your newfound fortune. By saying no, you're not closing the door to generosity. You're opening it to the right beneficiaries. This act of discernment safeguards your wealth, preserving it for moments of genuine need, your own aspirations, and meaningful contributions to causes that align with your values. In a world where instant gratification often overshadows discernment, Cuban's advice serves as a reminder that sometimes the most profound act of generosity is to say no to the many, so you can wholeheartedly say yes to the few who truly matter. It's a lesson that encourages the preservation of wealth while ensuring that your fortune is a force for good in your life and in the lives of those you genuinely wish to assist. Not all winners are wise investors. A cautionary tale. As you stand at the crossroads of newfound wealth, Mark Cuban's sixth admonition is a cautionary tale, an eloquent reminder that a jackpot win doesn't transform you into a financial wizard. The allure of becoming an investment maestro can be strong, but Cuban, the financial oracle, imparts a different perspective. It's easy to be lured by the world of stocks, bonds, and investment portfolios, especially when you're suddenly privy to financial opportunities that were once distant dreams. Yet, Cuban urges a moment of pause and a candid reflection on your investment prowess. A lottery win doesn't magically confer financial acumen. It's akin to acquiring a shiny, high-speed vehicle without having the skills to navigate its complexities. His advice is a beacon of simplicity. Don't rush into investments. The alternative, often overlooked, is both safe and astute. Place your winnings in the bank. It's a move that assures lasting comfort and respite from the tumultuous seas of investment risks. It's akin to allowing your newfound wealth to repose in the arms of financial security, where it can grow steadily without the turbulence and volatility of the investment world. This wisdom isn't a retreat from financial growth. It's a deliberate strategy to protect and nurture your wealth. The bank becomes a sanctuary, guarding your assets against the capricious waves of market fluctuations. Your wealth accumulates, your future remains secure, and you sleep soundly knowing that you won't lose money in the labyrinth of risky investments. The allure of investment is undeniable, but it's a realm fraught with uncertainty. Even seasoned investors often grapple with its intricacies. Cuban's counsel is a gentle reminder that the pursuit of financial growth doesn't have to be hasty. It can be gradual, prudent, and safeguarded. In the story of your newfound wealth, this advice serves as the tranquil interlude, a period of reflection, respite, and readiness. You are the steward of your prosperity, and just as you wouldn't sail into stormy seas without proper navigation, you shouldn't rush into investments without sound judgment. In this realm of caution and contemplation, your wealth becomes a fortress, well protected and poised to thrive. It's a strategy that assures that your financial journey is a harmonious voyage, not a turbulent ordeal. However, don't be disheartened. Cuban's advice doesn't end here. He has a bonus tip for you as well: the art of being a likable billionaire. Mark Cuban, the sage of wealth, imparts a bonus pearl of wisdom. Be nice. No one likes a mean billionaire. In this simple but profound advice, he reveals the art of endearing oneself to the world, even when perched on the pinnacle of prosperity. Becoming a billionaire doesn't have to be synonymous with arrogance or callousness. In Cuban's world, kindness, empathy, and generosity are the pillars of a likable billionaire. It's a reminder that wealth doesn't have to isolate you from humanity. Rather, it can be a force for goodwill, compassion, and positive change. As you set your sights on the towering odds of winning the Powerball jackpot, $292.2 million to be precise, Cuban's voice of reason echoes, urging caution. The pursuit of dreams is a magnificent journey, but it's essential not to go overboard when buying tickets. It's the line between hope and excess, between the thrill of possibility and the abyss of impracticality. In Cuban's wisdom, you find not just a financial guide, but a philosophy for living. It's a testament to the harmonious coexistence of wealth and humility, the fusion of dreams and pragmatism. As you stand at the threshold of possibilities, his words guide your steps, ensuring that even in the realm of astronomical odds, you walk with wisdom and grace. In the world of lottery wins, Mark Cuban's advice acts as a beacon of financial prudence. It emphasizes that the journey from rags to riches is best undertaken with a well-versed guide by your side. So, when the stars align and the lottery win becomes your reality, remember the words of a true financial sage: hire a financial advisor. It's your first step towards securing your newfound wealth and ensuring that it lasts a lifetime.